Okay, good morning, everybody. Nice to see you all here. We will just let the last tick in, so you can just grab your coffee, be comfortable, make your headset work, whatever you need to do. We'll give it one more 30 seconds and then we will get started. Good morning, Monica and Petra. Good to see you all. I can see we have a lot from both Denmark, Germany, and Sweden. Nice to have you. It's gonna be good, this.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I think we'll just get started. Welcome everybody to this session where we will dive into the services industry. We'll look at how are we doing, what does the KPI say, what do you need to do to be successful in 2022, what separates the least performing companies from the best performing. Look at some of the trends. You get a lot of good stuff, and I hope you get a lot of nice takeaway from this webinar. So settle in. Two practical things before we get started. My name is Andreas. Up here to your right, you can ask questions, you can chat. I'm going to sit down here afterwards and note every question down, so we will answer all the questions at the end of the webinar, but please write them as you remember them, because then I'll make sure Henrik and Sophie will get to answer them at the end. And you will also have all the slides, you'll have the recording, and we also have a lot of good stuff we're going to send out to you afterwards. Sophie is going to reveal a little bit about that. It's kind of a premiere, this thing today also.
World premiere.
Yeah. Actually. Yeah. So, just a few things about that. With us today, we are in good hands. We have Sofie Hermansen, CMO, Per Henrik Nielsen, or nickname Pelle, CEO, and combined, you have a lot of international consulting experience, and you're a bit of nerds when it comes to KPIs, I can say, working with you.
Yes.
So settle in. This is going to be good. The session today will be based on the SPI Research 2022 Professional Services Benchmark, which is the benchmark for the consulting industry. And the really nice thing about this webinar benchmark is that it looks not just on the financial KPIs for the industry, but also all the operational stuff. How are you staffing your projects? How are you executing? What's your employee turnover? What's your billable utilization? You can find a lot of good stuff in there. I know a lot of you have read it already. If you haven't, we're gonna send it out. It's really worth looking into. I recommend you do that. SPI Research is doing this webinar, the benchmark, and they've been doing it for 15 years. It's an international benchmark. This year it's 540 consultancies participating, 162,000 consultants. So it's a lot of data we get in there. We have been sponsoring it for 5 years now because we think it's a really good asset for both us and the industry as such to really know where we are performing.
Yes.
And at the end, Sophie will also reveal a little bit about you can actually participate in next year's benchmark.
Yes.
If you feel so inclined. Get to know where you are. So today's agenda. First, we start in the bird's eye view with you, Pelle.
Yeah.
How's the industry performing? What does the KPI say? They don't lie. What do you need to do? Then a major thing this year is remote work. We all know this. I don't think anybody here has not been impacted by remote in the last 2 years. How did it actually impact project performance, business performance? There's some interesting takeaways there. Then one of the main points in the SPI benchmark is maturity and process optimization. How professional is your company, and how can we see this correlates to how you are performing in your both financial and operational KPIs. There's some really good points there, and I hope you will stick around and get some inspiration. So I will leave the stage to you, Pelle.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everyone.
So excited to talk to, I think, one of the best performing businesses we have here, because you will see that shortly. But not only that, how we as an industry performs, but also what separates the top from the bottom. So let's get into it now. So the revenue growth, if we take a look here at the last 5 years, I must say I'm impressed after 2020. We know all about the corona and what is going on, also unfortunately in Europe right now. But if we look at how it went from 19 to 20, I didn't expect such a rapid, how can I say, back on track. So you can see if we look on the 5-year trend, we are actually back on the 10.6, 11% revenue growth. That is amazing. I can only say that shows how adaptable that the industry is, that you are and your people. What I also find very amazing, and let me just introduce the maturity. Remember, the SPI is about maturity. And here you can see there are 5 levels, starting with initiated, piloted, deployed, institutionalized, and optimized. But I will not explain more about the maturity definition as such, because Sophie will come back and actually explain what that is. But what you can see here is that if we take the first 3 levels, initiated, piloted, and deployed, we are very much growing, should we say, 9, 10. That's more or less the same. And I can already reveal that 80% of the consultancy companies are actually grouped within those 3 levels. So that's actually quite, I think, astonishing how we managed to get the business in. Really a big congratulations to you and the industry for doing that. If you then happen to be among the 15% on level 4, institutionalized, yeah, you make a jump up there. And then again up to level 5, where we only see 5% of the companies. But Sophie is going to talk more about that. So what is the reasons for this? I'm going to talk a bit more about that, because the next slide will reveal maybe some more differences why we are doing like we are. If we take the EBITDA, the bottom line, have a look at this. I think it's pretty amazing that in 2019, we managed to establish with all the difficulties and all the changing we have to go through at 15.2. And we have actually maintained it like that, even though we have been growing in the industry a lot. And it's not so easy to grow and maintain bottom line at the same time. But here comes the big difference. Take a look at the right now. This is really important, because here you see the big difference. If we take the level 1, where we are below 1% EBITDA, huge step up to number 2, and you get the point. You can see that in the figure itself. But maybe what is more important here, why is that? If you are at the initiated level, we see a lot of, may I say, the heroes. You might know that also. I still see it in TimeLog. I can say, I can fix this one, the hero style. It's not documented. It's not really, you do a lot of rework. And that's what caused if you actually look, remember the revenue growth, it was not that different compared to the levels on each maturity level. But look at this. That's where you will meet. And this is, I could say, this is internal challenges. Remember that. It's how you execute. It's how you deploy the things. It's not external. So this is really how to look into how much rework do I do? How much heroes do I have? Do I have it on paper still? Do I get the numbers, at the very end of the month instead of real time? These are all some of the factors that we will hear much more about later. But this is actually the reasons why we see. And again, it's fantastic just to be on level 3. I want to mention that. That's when you have a very healthy business there. Good. That was the beta. And now I'm actually going to try and get some interaction with you guys. And that is a poll we are going to do. This is going to be anonymous, of course. So Andreas, would you be so kind to kick it off? Just to explain again, level 1 means here it's around you are at 1% EBITDA. Level 2 is around 6% EBITDA. Level 3, 15. Level 4, 20. Level 5. It's anonymous. It's to see where we have the crowd today. Where do you estimate yourself? While I'm talking here, I hope that you do the voting, and I will then see the results shortly and then give a comment on that. I'm just going to check with the... Good. I can see something coming in now here. That looks very, very good. And this is amazing. I can actually give you 10 seconds more for the ones voting there.
You can vote on the right side of the up against the chat if you don't know.
Good. What I can see is, if I look into this, I can see that we are very much located on level 2 and level 3. And also at level 1 here, that's I actually cannot see. We also have some on level 4 and 5. This is very, very, very good. And guys, you heard what I said before. The first 3 levels is around 80%. And if I look here, we have 43% on level 3, 30 on level 2. That's actually 73 and 7% on level 1. That's 80. Guys, you are amazing. And that means 13% on level 4, where we have 15 and 5% on level 5. So guys, we have a very representative crowd today. Thank you so much for sharing that. But that's also mean that all of us have some challenges where we can improve. And I'm sure the boards like that. So let's move on to some of the really record level that we have seen, the project timeliness. And if we look at this 5-year trend, look at that. Despite all the changes, despite the move to remote work, and maybe that has caused it, and also the digitalization, we are at an all-time high 80.2% on project timeliness. That's amazing. It's amazing to handle these kind of changes in a market and then deliver like this. And then we take the next one here. If we then look at the difference here, also on the initiated level versus the deployed level, here you can see there is, of course, a difference, which we also saw in the EBITDA margin, that we see that 65% on the initiated, that's where you can see the project timeliness. That's, of course, what costs money when you do rework, etc., and you don't have your tools to support you in learning. And that's what we see big time here. That's caused an effect on this project timeliness. Interesting numbers, but again, I can only give credit for having an all-time high while changing to a lot of remote work. So also a stable realized hourly rate, which I think is quite amazing in a world where you onboard a lot of people. Also, a lot of people are leaving, and I'm actually going to come back on that. That is that we are still on the 92 euros, as you can see here, a stabilized realized hourly rate, while you really, really make a lot of changes. That's pretty cool, I must say that. And if I then again look at the realized hourly rate, look at the differences here. That's where you really see it. If you see, let's focus a bit as a look up all the way to level 5 optimized from level 1. I think it's a factor 4 we are talking about here. That's where you, in your organization, can find the spots. Why are we doing like this? How are we learning? What are we not doing right? What tools do we not have? We really see big differences here on how you realize this. And that's, of course, what you see in the numbers here. But again, pretty amazing to keep a stable realized hourly rate as an industry, that I must say. Good. So let's jump to the next part of the agenda, the 3 trends. What happened when we went remote? And that's pretty interesting also. If we look at your digital investments and how we do that, there's nothing really new in this, except it's going to continue. The investment in digital tools, system, how you organize yourself around the digital, how you use it, that's going to keep growing, not only 22, 23. Gartner has done extensive analysis here, and it's very clear that we see it might even increase, but for now, it is what we have seen in the recent years. That's going to continue. So you better also keep up with that, because the entire competition will or are digital already now. So look at this. That's an amazing number. What is it then? It is actually how much on-site delivery the industry do, meaning that 2/3 of the deliveries today are done remote and are done. You have seen the KPIs. Fantastic the way it has given a result in the KPIs. So you are down to 1/3 on site. I know consultancy business that 2-3 years ago told me that's impossible. No, we have to go there. We have to be there. We have to feel it. Well, you have trained the guys. I don't know how you have done it, but you have done it beautifully. How to run meetings remotely, how to deliver remotely. Amazing stuff. And I can tell you in 1 year, it has come down from 41% to 34%. And a question, I don't have time for any more polls, but it would be interesting if you could write in the chat, do you think this trend will go on? Do you think we will see more on-site delivery or less on-site delivery in 23? Let's say we are out of the corona completely, globally, etc. If you could give a statement in the chat, it would be nice to hear what you think would happen. Are we going to see, as I say, more or less on-site delivery? But fantastic job to adapt to that situation. So the digital execution, which comes along, of course, with the remote delivery. If we take a look here, project profitability is rising. That is amazing. While you change a lot, your employees need to change. People who are used to have face-to-face talk and rely on that, maybe old habits. Look at this. The project contribution 5-year trend is all-time high. And if you then again compare that with project on time completion, I can only say, I don't know about many industries that have managed such a change and deliver it with very, very strong KPIs. Then I also do know, as you have seen, there's a lot of differences from level 1 to level 5. But again, that's just an opportunity for take this really serious internally, invest in it, because you can see the business case is there. Good. So mature companies manage projects even better. Look at these two numbers. You can see on the left side a 24% improvement if you look at the level 4-5 companies compared to level 1-2. The average projects finish on time. That's of course money in the bank if you finish on time. But look also at the profit margin. Like I said before, there's a huge difference. Again, this is all about internal stuff, how you execute it, how you do it. And I can tell you, Sophie is going to give you a lot more hints where the differences are there. So guys, with that, I actually have to say there is a flip side of the medal. There is something that we see. Maybe it's a more trend right now in US and that side, but I think it's going to come here. And again, feel free to give us a hint in the chat, because we see that our people are leaving. We see the trend of great resignation, you know, that people just leave without having another job. And that, I think, it might be that you know, people and culture becomes much more important now, because it has gone up with 42% in just 1 year, people that are leaving. And you know yourself how much it costs to onboard a new employee. They leave in the middle of a project, they are skilled, or you know exactly the hassle. So I can only encourage to hear. I think we all have to look over the people and culture, strategy, the execution, the flexibility, apropos working from home, digitalization. What is it that our employees are looking for? Because 42% increase in 1 year, if that's going to continue, I don't know. But I think it's one of the points where you really should focus upon. And I think here it doesn't matter with whether we are in the architect business, whether we are in the management consultant, the IT consultant, the digital agencies, wherever we are. It's a hassle we all need to deal with here. So we could join forces here and look at the trends there. This is the flip side, and it's an expensive one. So let's get it under control. With that, I can only say thank you for me for now. I'm going to come back, leaving the floor to Sophie.
Yes. Thank you, Pelle. So my name is Sophie, and now we're going to talk about maturity and how the maturity framework can help your company become more competitive. So Pelle has been going over a bunch of numbers. And let me say that maturity is not only about numbers. It's not only about how old is your company, how many employees do we have. It is also about execution, key performance indicators. But mainly I see it as a way of creating a structure around your employees, giving them a space, giving them the data, giving them the direction so that they can actually thrive. So let's jump into it. What is maturity? Well, it comes down to 3 decisive factors. So how refined are your internal processes? Do you have stuff supporting your employees? How does your tech stack support your operations? Do you just have a bunch of standalone tools, or do we actually use the tools that we have to get the data, to get the direction, to base decisions on data and not only gut feeling? And then, of course, how do your key figures perform across the company? So I've been in huge companies with thousands of employees, and we had a lot of different processes. We also had a bunch of different tools. So it's not just about the number of processes, because that was like, if you wanted to make a change or you wanted to do anything innovative, it was like moving a tank. Not really that easy. So it's not only about the number of processes, but you really got to go in and look at how are they supporting and how are they actually smoothing up this environment for the company. Also been in small places where maybe we're really good at exploiting the tech stack, really good at getting the data, but because you didn't have any processes, then it felt like doing the rework over and over again, and you didn't actually have time to take care of the customers. So those are the 3 factors when it comes to maturity. And now we're going to dive into the different levels of maturity. So this framework, it's built on the 15-year-old research done by SPI. So there's a lot of data backing it up. And like you saw in the beginning, normally every year we have like 500 plus companies participating. And it's based on that. So let's start with the initiated. And as Pelle already alluded to, a lot of us are actually here. And yeah, this is the level 1. And I'm as a not that keen person on processes, like I'm not a process geek, this might be a place where upfront I think, oh, this is fun. This is like being innovative, no process, everything is new, and it's so exciting. But as an employee, after you've been here for a while, you sort of figure out, okay, I have to keep doing the same things over and over again. It's like a ton of rework. There's like no concepts because there's no processes. When things actually succeed, well, then it's mainly based to a superhero employee that does something really, really well. But as an employee in this space, and if you want to build a sustainable environment, predictable environment, then it's really hard to thrive here because you start over all the time. And as we can see from the run through of the KPIs, the business is also hurting. So it's not good for the financial KPIs either. So technology-wise, because that's one of the factors, right, when it comes to maturity, technology-wise, we're relying on spreadsheets when we do time tracking or project execution. So it's manual data entry. It's not really necessarily connected with other systems, and there's no forecasting and so on. So you're leaving your employees a little bit in the dark and a little bit without direction. That was level 1. Let's jump to level 2, the piloted level. Here, we actually see things starting to work. So if level 1, the initiated, is like a teenager, then now we're up to like 30-year-oldish. We start having some processes, but maybe not so consistently. So still we see management is a bit more professional, a bit better at setting goals and following up on them. And we might have processes in some departments, but still it's not across the board. So if we have best practices in marketing, we not necessarily have the best practice in research and development or where we execute on our projects, the consultants, for instance. So again, a little bit better for the employees, but this is actually also where we might start seeing some friction coming from below, coming from the employees, because they want the chance to specialize further and to evolve. So technology-wise, we have moved into some basic tools for project management, some basic tools for time tracking, but it's still standalone systems, so data is not integrated. Let's jump to the deployed level. This is the 3rd level of business. This is where things actually start to kick off. This is where we see that we have widely implemented processes. We actually also have a professional service automation solution like TimeLock that we can use to have a coherent picture of all our internal processes and of our projects. So everything from time tracking to project management, resource and capacity planning, we have that in one system. So it's a lot easier for employees to actually know where we're going. And we actually have processes that we can rely upon, and we also see that our KPIs are starting to really kick off. So most of us, we're in one of these 3 levels. If we then jump to the institutionalized, well, we moved on technology-wise from the PSA. We've added on a business intelligence solution. We can see that the goals are set on an individual level for the employees. You know exactly where you're going. Somebody is following up. You have room to specialize. This is also a really, really good work environment if you want to, when you want to thrive as an employee. As the management, you have a specialty role. You go in and you support all your people, you help them with their goals, and you have visibility and you have control of all the different KPIs that you need to drive the business forward. Optimized. And I could see from the poll that we actually have, when it comes to bottom line, we have some optimized companies here. So good job. This is where I don't know if everybody wants to go there, because being deployed is actually also a good place to be. It's a healthy business. But when we go to optimize, when we look at the business environment and the work environment that we are in today, we need constant innovation, and we need to constantly learn from what we're doing already. And when you look at the optimized companies, that's what they're really, really good at. You have a lot of feedback loops. You evolve your business, and you're not just delivering a project and doing it on time and material. You're actually developing and continually developing on the processes, for instance, and you get more and more specialized as an employee. So this is where your PSA is integrated with your BI, with your CRM, with all your tools. You have the data real time. You can act database, this data driven, rely only on the gut feeling. So these are the 5 different levels of maturity that we see across the board for companies. And just to sum up real briefly, most of us are in level 1 or 2. Get to level 3, it's nice, it's healthy business, and it's also happy employees. And the really good thing about this framework that we get from SPI is that we can actually go in and pinpoint. So I'm initiated. Where should I start? Well, you should start by mapping out your strategy, for instance. You start by mapping out which processes are hurting you the most, and then you should start implementing them, and you can look into this sort of tech stack to support your business moving forward. So we get all of these different. So if you want to keep evolving your business and you don't want to be stuck at level 2, or your employees are telling you don't be stuck at level 2, then we have a framework to move you forward. And as you can see also, and as we've seen through all the run through of the KPIs, profit and other financial numbers will follow. So I know you're thinking, how mature is my company? Oh, I wish I could get like a personal analysis and assessment. And this is the world premiere that Andreas was talking about earlier, because we took all of the SPI benchmark, all the questions in that, digitalized it, and now we can run it with you guys and assess your maturity. So you get a score through a series of questions. We let you know in which pillars you are in which level, and then you can also get recommendations like how to improve and how to further evolve your company. The way you do it is when you get the slides, you get a link, you go in and you can simply book a one-to-one assessment. Yeah, so that was a wrap-up, you can say, about the maturity. If you read the big SPI benchmark, because we have the small executive summary and then we have the big benchmark, then there's a lot more detail about both all the different levels and how to improve. So it's like a wealth of information, and you should go there. And like Andreas also said earlier, we have this benchmark every year, and TimeLog is supporting it. And what we really dream about is having more people from Europe and from the Nordics, Denmark, Sweden, Germany, participate and be part of this questionnaire. We run it every year in November, I think it is. So what you can do is you can be part of it. And all you have to do is actually sign up on a pre-sign up list. So November comes, we'll send you an email, and then you can determine if you want to participate in the survey. So I really hope that you'll do that so that we can get even more Nordic answers. Pelle, will you join me again?
Yes.
Because I think we're actually at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have actually one comment about this test, because we of course tried it in TimeLog, and as a leader here, I can say I was a bit surprised that when I did it, it was actually the different way of looking at maturity in the leadership team. So I experienced the different domain owners had a very different view. Some thought we were on level 2, some on level 3, some on level 1, and I can say only starting with that discussion, answer it digitally, and then take that as a team. That was fantastic to see. I don't think we are that mature in how we handle the people and culture area. Okay, but I think our operational is very good. But the differences within the team, it was not so much to locate us on whether we were on level 2 or 3. It was actually more to discuss the differences. And that we used a lot to base the ongoing strategy and how to improve, honestly.
Yeah.
That was a very good insight.
And you can have maturity, you can be more mature in one pillar than in another.
Yes.
So it's not that funny.
No, and it will often be like that.
Yeah.
But I also have to refer to the poll. I saw that actually, based from an EBITDA point of view, we have only, I think it was less than 10% in level 1, which shows that it's a strong audience we have today, and you should be proud and happy for that. So Andreas, do we have any questions in the chat?
No, we don't have any questions actually at this stage. So I think everybody. Paula asks how to get access to the maturity test.
Yes.
Yeah.
So since it's such a world premiere, it's actually only for you guys for now.
Yeah.
So we hope also you will help test it. It's a little bit of a beta, but data is good. So when we send out the slides and all the material, you get a link where you can go in and you can book a meeting for an assessment where you can then go through this with one of our sales business consultants. Yeah. So for now, that's how you get access.
Yeah. Good. And you can also, of course, rerun it when you know about it, how it is. That's what I do with my team, just to see, have we moved the last 6 months? Then we do it again. That's also fun to compare from one time to another.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you. I know the two of you can't see it. We have a lot of applause in the chat.
Okay.
So thank you for that. I hope you really got something out of this webinar.
Yeah.
If you have any more questions, feel free to write. We'll send out an email, just answer it, and we'll get back to you with any questions you might have. So thank you to the two of you for taking your time and sharing some of your knowledge with us. Yes, and thank you all for being here today.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.